I've been through every kind of trauma there is, from abuse to diagnoses to accidents. The biggest thing I see currently is anxiety, and it's fear of the future. But with anxiety comes depression as well. A lot of people get triggered. They go either lashing or they retreat. Mostly, I was going through it by myself. Nobody wanted to be around me. I used the word divine, relying and just sitting with the divine because I was sitting in the dark. And now I'm back to, 200%. Your feelings are valid.
Today on the Future Jobs podcast, we have an incredibly insightful guest, Charlotte Clark, a specialist in trauma, healing, and resilience. Charlotte helps people navigate difficult experiences, build emotional strength, and transform challenges into personal growth. In today's conversation, we will uncover the mindset and emotional skills that young professionals, um, you know, and students can use to face challenges, grow mindset, and thrive in their careers, especially in our fast changing AI driven world. Charlotte, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to be here with you, Charlotte, and record this podcast with you. This is something which most of us really want, and especially the younger generation. This episode is basically for the young people, mostly, although you all can watch it. It is mostly for the young people, the the young generation who is actually struggling with their jobs, with their careers, so that they can, do better. So, Charlotte, first of all, we want to hear your story about healing from trauma. So could you tell us about that?
Healing from trauma. I've been through every kind of trauma there is, from abuse to diagnoses to accidents. A lot of transformation through people dying in my life, and processing the emotions through all of them, and have designed multiple programs to help others get through it too, just because I know it firsthand personally, and I'm on the other side of it. So I figured I'd help others too because it is needed. The biggest thing I see currently is anxiety, and it's fear of the future. But with anxiety comes depression as well. And that's kind of like replaying the past and you get down. But I've structured things to where you can live in the present and feel your feelings in the now, but not get stuck in the feelings, but move forward through them to be on the other side of the whatever's going on in the anxiety or depression or triggers. A lot of people get triggered through situations that are confrontational. They go either lashing or they retreat. But either way, there's ways to handle it, professionally, discreetly, without causing a lot of drama for yourself or others.
um okay, Charlotte, whenever we um whenever we experience something bad in our life, we look for people to support us, to be with us or something like that. So when you were struggling, when you were suffering from all those challenges, so who were standing at that time with you? Or was that only you, trying to heal by yourself? And
Mostly, I was going through it by myself. Different people say they would be there and then weren't, um, or very minimal, because they didn't understand. I had a head injury, and nobody wanted to be around me. My emotions were very raw, um, but it was because I had had a head injury. I had a major concussion. And with concussions, you cannot be on any devices because it's brain stimulation, no TV, no radio, no. So the little bit of contact I had with the world was very minimal. And so it was a journey I did by myself, and I relied on the divine. And divine is whatever you call it. God, source, universe, whatever you call it is fine. For me, I use the word divine, and I really found my strength within relying and just sitting with the divine, because I was sitting in the dark, because of I couldn't have any lights on or any socials of any kind. Even text messaging was a challenge. So, and that's how everybody wants to communicate. But when you have a head injury and you cannot be on anything to stimulate your mind, it makes it very challenging in this day. But I made it through. And now I'm back to, I don't know, 200% and helping others get through too.
That's really wonderful. Um, so, Charlotte, how can understanding and healing past emotional challenges help someone stay motivated while learning new AI skills or preparing for future careers?
There's certain things that you can implicate on a daily basis, to help keep you focused, centered within self. Um, Part of that is your self care regimen. Like, do you take time out to express how you're feeling in the day? I mean, say you have a rough day. You can, at the end of the day, one, go outside and scream at somebody or, the world. But that's not doable when different people live in big cities and things like that. So what you can do is, you can journal like how you feel about everything. And I would have two separate notebooks if you're going to do a journaling, because yes, you can express what you want to get rid of, what you're feeling, to process it. But then you want another notebook to say, you know, thank you, on the thank yous of like getting through things that have been difficult, because those notebooks hold the energy of what you're writing. So that's why I say two different ones. One that's like, I'm grateful that I got to breathe today and I got through another day without, with everything being okay, in a sense, like I was able to eat on time and get to all my appointments on time and do all that. But when you're having a rough day, you grab the negative notebook and be like, I am upset because, and you can use journal words to start with. And as you free flow write, more of that will come out too, to what's really deep inside of you. You can say, I'm angry because somebody cut me off, or I wasn't heard in the boardroom, or you know what I'm saying? It's just, you have to keep them separate because they both hold energy. And of course, the negative one, if you want to burn it, go for it, because then you're just releasing even more of it. But do it in a
Exactly,
safe space. Safety first.
exactly. So, Charlotte, you were telling me that you've had a young person, two nights before,
Mhm.
and he was 21 years old and he was struggling in his job. So, could you share some um, other stories like that with the young people with you know who are struggling in their jobs and their careers, and what was initially the thing you told them and they were healed from that?
For one, I hold space for where they are with no judgment, because that's the big thing. Because people will not open up to anybody, stranger or family member, because they don't feel safe to open up. There's a judgment, there's whatever. So they don't feel safe. I have created safe spaces to say, hey, if you need to cry, I'm here for it. Just cry. We're not going to talk. You just cry your eyes out, and I'm here for it. And when you're done crying, then we can put words to it. Because honestly, when somebody's trying to talk and cry at the same time, the person receiving the information can't hear 100%, because it's a lot of "Ugh," and then trying to talk. And it's like, you know what? Let's just feel the feelings for all that they are, and cry it out. And when you feel your cry is done, because I'm going to hold space for you, I don't care what you say. Those are your feelings. Your feelings are valid. They are yours. Nobody can tell you that you can or cannot have them. They are yours. So once you express them, and even if it's through tears, when the tears are done, then the conversation could be had, and then I go through a few questionings of, do you feel better now? And it's usually yes. However, when we talk through it, we figure out the triggers to where when this shows up again, they know how to process the emotion that they're feeling within the situation. Even if they can't have that breakdown in the situation, they know the trigger to change the situation. A lot of it's just
Wonderful.
holding space. Nobody's hurt anymore. That's why there's so much yelling and fussing and things like that. It's because nobody feels hurt anymore. They feel that they're on deaf ears and they're left to walk this journey alone, this life journey. And I hold space for people because that's what they truly need.
That's really great. So many beginners feel overwhelmed when starting new skills. What techniques help them overcome self or and fear of failure?
Fear of failure. Well, that's false evidence appearing real. That's what fear. I've seen other memes of, face it or run from it. But honestly, it's just a lot of people have fed into you at some point in your life to say you can or can't do. And you listen to that little voice. But, if you have a desire to learn something new, that's something within you that you want to know. And learning is a beautiful thing. Granted, nobody's going to get it right the first time when you're starting something new. Like you had said earlier, you heard a podcast of mine. And then we had spoke about this and I was on camera. The first time I was ever on camera, I was scared to death. And, that was back in 2017. I went live on Facebook and I thought, oh boy, but it was something new, something I'd never done, but I pushed through the fear and then it was beautiful. So sometimes pushing through the fear because it's false evidence appearing real, the other side is such beauty because you're like, I accomplished it. I did it. I can, give yourself a pat on the back. I'm not saying go out and buy you a cookie or ice cream every time you do something successful, but at least acknowledge that gratitude book. I accomplished this today and I feel really excited and really proud of myself because I accomplished something new that I've never done before. And even if it's not a perfect, you still did it. You still put your time and energy into trying something new. And the first time is never perfect. But as we continue to do it, it becomes part of us and it's easy to go through it because we've gotten over that first time. Like, I don't know if you remember like your first date ever, like when you were young and all the anxiety and things. And whether it turned out good or not, you still went on it. You still did that first date. You still had that first phone call. And those are all first. And the first doesn't make you perfect in any way. But you had the courage to do it anyway. Because if you never went out on a date, you wouldn't have had, a fun time at the movies or a good dinner. So it's an expansion thing. And when you're willing to do that thing you've never done before, it could be the best thing you've ever done in your life. So it all starts somewhere. When we're babies, we all took that first step. Were we afraid we were going to fall? No, because babies don't have fear. They just do it. And they fall on their bums multiple times before they accomplish walking. So it's like walking. The first step is always the hardest. But once you master the steps, look at you. Everybody's walking now. We all grown.
Exactly. Um, That's really wonderful. How can young professionals turn setbacks or rejections in their careers or projects into learning opportunities instead of discouragement?
Nothing's ever a failure if you learn from it. And I've seen a lot of people being in one type of career and then mid-course just not being happy in it, not thriving in it, not expanding like they thought. It becomes a dread, it becomes heavy. And yeah, you need the money. But while you're still doing, because we all got bills, and while you're doing the dread job, um, we can, expand and learn into other things, whether it's going back to school part time or change your course study midstream. I mean, you still get the credits for what you've done. And most colleges plug into what you've done into something else, even if you've changed your course study. Everything we do is a learning experience in one way or another. Even if it's not for the now time, we still learned it. I remember when I got on TikTok, I asked my son for help. My daughter's like, Mom's so techie, she needs to learn how to do TikTok for real, for real. And it was a new platform I didn't know. And he showed me one time, and I'm a quick learner, and I know several others are. Some takes more time, but now my son texts me or calls me. It's like, Mom, how do you do this on TikTok or that on TikTok? And I'm like, yeah, I'll show you. Not a problem. So it ended up being a collaboration between us, because where I started and I didn't know, I've grown to understand the platform, and now my son is reaching out to me. So it doesn't matter what age, you can always learn something. And even if it's a new programming or platform, it takes a minute to learn, but it's not like you can't do it. You just focus your time in on figuring it out. And sometimes people come along the way to help you figure it out, and sometimes people don't.
Exactly. And it takes a very small amount of time, probably minutes, when we have a passion for something and we want to learn it, have a courage for it. So it takes very few, minutes to learn it. So the
Right.
important thing is to be persistent, be passionate about that, and you learn that.
Or be open to learning a new way of doing things, just because, say, with Facebook, their platform, YouTube's platform, TikTok's platform, and there's multitude of others as well. They all have their own way of doing things. So it just takes a minute. Now chat TPT and a lot of this AI stuff coming up. It just takes a minute to figure it out. You just have to be patient in figuring it out, no matter what age
Exactly.
you are, young or old.
No matter what age you are, exactly, that is really true. And after AI, the thing stuff is, way more easy. So in your experience, how important is emotional intelligence for young people entering tech or AI driven industries?
Um, a lot of self care, a lot of self care, because I know a lot of people do that work at home, and they never leave the comfort of their home. And then when they do to go to the grocery store, there's all kinds of social anxieties, because seeing people in person, which that will always be, even if you have your groceries delivered and you do everything from home, you have to be able to keep your emotional and mental in check, in a sense of loving yourself fully. Because I know there's some people that never leave their house. They have a home gym, they, have the groceries delivered, they work at home, so they become hermits. So when they step out into society, they have that social anxiety, and that's interacting with others face to face. My suggestion to them is at least take yourself out of the house minimal once a week. Whether you take yourself on a date to go eat dinner in a restaurant or you decide to go watch a movie, just take yourself out on a date at least once a week to have that social interaction. Because yes, everything's very AI. Everything's like stay at home. And when you become a hermit, you lose part of you. And um, because everybody needs physical touch. So when they don't get it, they become very isolated, and the emotions are very hard to process because human touch, and it's a hug. And there's been studies say that people that get 4 to 8 hugs a day are thriving and excited and have a lust of life. Now, I'm not going to say go up and hug every stranger. There's some places that ain't safe. However, the physical interaction, a handshake, a hi, hi, um, and then being able to possibly see a friend to get a hug from. Not everybody lives near family either. So that's, everybody's in a different situation. And I know for college kids, being away from home, away from parentals, yes, they're with a lot of friends in some situations. Some are there for an education and education only, but you still have to get out. And even if you don't go with friends, take yourself out because you're just as important as everybody else. And so taking yourself on a date, just out to eat somewhere, you still have interactions with people of, smiles or the waitress or waiter, whoever's working with you in your meal. It's human connection. And part of the AI, I feel people are losing that human connection as far as everything being delivered and everything at home. And I know we do connections through socials, but it's not the same as when you actually go to the grocery store or you actually take yourself out to eat. So self-care could look like interacting with others at least once a week. That way your internals stay good with the human connection because you're not a robot and you were never intended to be. So don't be a robot.
Exactly. Oops. Am I audible?
Hmm?
Okay. So I was saying there's a huge difference between, as you mentioned, being online or a virtual person and going outside and uh, interacting with people physically. Um, you know, people are lying at their homes. Commenting on different videos with different kind of things. Sometimes negatively, sometimes positively, but it's very difficult to comment negatively in the front of a person, and like physically. So
Right.
that's very true. Can you share simple daily exercises for managing stress and staying focused while learning high demand skills?
Okay. How to stay daily activities, how to stay basically stress free. Um, there's multiple things you can do. If you start your day with a shower, just think of the water raining down blessings on you all day, because you can visualize that. You can also do stretching, just putting your hands in the air and touching your toes like 5 times. That totally moves the body and gets the blood flowing. You can do it in any part of the day. You can even like with computer jobs at home or in a business setting, corporate setting. You can step away from your desk or go to the bathroom, put your arms in the air completely up, and then just slowly touch your toes and do that 5 times. It moves the blood through the entire body to help keep everything moving and flowing because I know we get stuck with sitting at the desk, regardless of the setting. Um, You can, when things get stressful, you can breathe, and it's a breath of like breathing in your nose, holding it for 5, like breathe in for 5 or 6 seconds, hold it for 5, and then I want you to breathe like you're blowing out a birthday candle and like count to 6 or 7, just to just get through that energy. Another thing you can do when you're in a stressful situation and you can't do that managed breathing, you can literally and tap on your eyebrow right here at the top. Just tap it. Ain't nobody gonna know what you're doing. They think you're thinking, but you're changing the energy because you're tapping right here, the edge of your eyebrow. Just tap it and continue to tap it while you're listening and while you're getting through whatever stressful situation. And it'll change the energy as well. There's a video I did once, and I did it with my kids as well, or did, and it's a woosha, woosha, woosha. You change your tone every time you do it, but if you do it 10 times, whatever you were upset about is gone. Um, I've done it a lot with different clients when they're stuck in that stuck energy and trying to move past it. And I'm like, okay, just mimic me. Woosha! And in a short amount of time, just saying that, it changes the energy to where it focuses into something different, more positive. Because if you listen to how you do the woosha, I mean, we could do Italian, Chinese, all of them, country, whatever. It changes the energy around you, in you, regardless if the situation changes or not. It's changed you to change your perspective to be able to get through it. Another thing with a very stressful day is the end of the day, you go take a shower and you visualize everything negative being washed off you and down the drain. And it's just gone for the day. And that way, when you go to rest, you're in a peaceful space because you've released all the negativity. Now, there again, like with the shower in the morning versus night, when you take it and you release all the negative energy, you can also see that water as it's beating on you, being light, love, all the positive things flowing into you. So there's a few tips and tricks to get through the day of stressful or beyond stressful, because there's sometimes being on the phone and people are just, you're on hold and they're doing their little sales pitch and you've said no and they're not listening. So you just start tapping. Just start tapping that eyeball, and then you can say
Exactly.
something and the conversation ends. I mean, there is ways to get out of difficult situations and just say no thank you and goodbye and hang up the phone. There's no problem disconnecting from negative energy by just hanging up the phone. You don't have to participate, regardless of who it is. I've hung up on my parents and I've hung up on my children. So,
Um, it was a really good tip. The last one you mentioned about wusha. I really like that one, and some of other tips. There are several ways, and they're way much better than being on your mobile phone and just um, looking, scrolling through social media, scrolling through reels, and thinking that your mind is getting refreshed, or whatever. But doing these physical things are more fun than that. So
doom scrolling.
yeah, exactly. How can embracing vulnerability become a strength in professional environments or creative projects?
What was the question?
How can embracing vulnerability become a strength in professional environments or creative projects?
I mean, there's good products out there, supplements and stuff. I mean, everybody needs vitamin C and I'd say D3 because that just helps fight the immune system and keep it bulked up. Um, I myself have a whole product line, and anxiety and depression is one of them. And one of my clients who, Lordy, I think she was 20 or 21, was fearful of driving, say, 3 or 4 blocks away to get gas in her vehicle. And a week after using the anxiety and depression product that I've created, um, she was driving for Uber Eats within a week, I think, a week or two. But that kind of transformation is huge. I have lots of different products. One with the pain relief. Um, it cancels out taking pain pills. Had surgery, took their pain pills for one day, used my pain relief cream. And this is a kind of a full circle story now because 22, I was in a car and I had to have surgery on my leg, my ankle specifically. And I was just recently in another car accident and it broke the same ankle. With the x ray, it doesn't even show any evidence of the surgery I had in 23. So, pretty phenomenal product as far as the healing aspects. Because the pain relief, I don't like pain medicine. It doesn't make me feel right and it's hard to function. So, I used my pain relief cream and I could walk and do. And the doctor even said after 6 weeks, I'm the first person he had ever seen walk at 6 weeks after this type of surgery. So, I mean, it's pretty phenomenal. And then there's sinus and stomach and different things. But as far as supplements go that you can add to your daily is, you know, vitamin D, D3, um, vitamin C, because as winter's coming in different spaces, and it flip flops through the year when you don't have the sunlight as often. That vitamin D of the sun really helps elevate moods. I mean, that's why everybody, like in the summer, and I don't care where you live, like what continent, when it's summertime for you, there is a lot more activity and people are out doing more things and having fun. But you're getting an excessive amount of vitamin D that really charges your body and brain to thrive. And when the sun's gone, or it doesn't last as long, start having depression and bouts of questioning, and because they're having a limited amount of vitamin D. And so vitamin D is big, really big, because it helps with the mental and emotional stability within self, because that is a vitamin that's very mood related. So mood elevation, vitamin D. Increased energy, vitamin B. And ginseng. And I can go on and on with the list of things, but yeah, there's supplements and things you can do. As far as the products, they're on my website too. I only use it. It can ship internationally. Let's put it that way. There's some places I can't ship to, but that's because of the laws of that, with international shipping. They do all that stuff. I just ship it. They say if I can or can't.
Exactly. Um, Charlotte, it was fun talking to you, and it was a really great conversation about trauma. And you know, I dedicate this conversation for young people, especially because this is the age for them to grow. This is the age for them to start their own careers. But if they're struggling, if they're going through from anything at this age, then it's really a moment for them to think about that and to get heal
Right.
from them. You can contact Charlotte if you want any kind of assistance regarding that, and you can visit her website, you know right below Charlotte's name, www.thcclc.com. And Charlotte, finally, Charlotte, if you could give one piece of advice to young people starting new skills or careers today, combining emotional strength and practical action, what would it be?
One nugget: the only thing standing between you and the life you desire is one decision. You've got to make the decision of how you want your life to look. And even if it looks one way today and it changes in a year, that's okay. We're all on a journey of learning how to get through day to day life, our careers, our focuses, relationships. It's one decision at a time. And don't be afraid to take a chance on yourself because you matter.
Exactly, exactly. Things always come in our lives, and then suddenly goes. But the thing only matter is you, is yourself. Once again, thank you so much, Charlotte, for taking time joining me today. I'm really grateful to you for this amazing, wonderful conversation. And thank you for everyone watching this conversation. I hope you like it. I hope you have, you know, got something from this conversation, as I always try to convey a message. Uh, so thank you so much. Inshallah, meet you soon with another amazing podcast with another amazing guest. And don't forget to, you know, tell me what kind of guests do you want to see on my podcast, and whether you like this conversation, hit the like button and press subscribe.